Okay, good morning everyone, and you're all very welcome to this session on research opportunities, and particularly opportunities for research students at Technological University Dublin. My name is Mary McNamara. I'm head of the Graduate Research School here at TU Dublin, and this morning I'm joined by my colleagues from the International Office, our campus on Tulla, and our colleges of engineering, science and business. So this morning I'm going to start with a very brief introduction to TU Dublin. We are Ireland's largest university, and approximately 13% of all university students in Ireland are at TU Dublin. We have three main campuses, all very close to Dublin city centre, and we cover all the disciplines from science, business, engineering, music, and the arts. And my colleagues from the colleges and the different campuses will tell you a little bit more about each of the disciplines later in the morning. The types of research programs that we offer, we have three types of awards, and our program is very flexible. So there are various ways into our program, various ways through our program, and various ways to graduate. So for example, we have a postgraduate diploma, which is a one-year research program full-time. You can enter that program with a level 8 degree, and you can exit with a postgraduate diploma, or you can transfer to our master's program. You can also directly enter the master's program again with a 2-2 level 8 degree. Our master's programs are 2 years full-time, and you can graduate with a master's in any of the disciplines, or you can transfer to the PhD program. And finally, we have two types of doctorates. We have the traditional PhD, but we also have a Doctor of Music award. Both programs are 4 years full-time, and you can enter those directly with a 2-1 honours degree. So as I said, it's a very flexible program. There's various ways into it. There's various ways to progress through your research program, and there's various ways to graduate from the program. So the type of research that we do at TU Dublin is slightly different. Our research is use-inspired, so we're always interested in the end product. That may be a policy report, or it may be a piece of technology. At TU Dublin, we are very proud of the fact that about 1/5 of all licenses, technology development licenses in Ireland, originate in TU Dublin. So we feel that our research is very relevant, not only nationally, but our aim is to specifically address and find solutions for the strategic development goals as defined by the United Nations. And all of our programs at TU Dublin have very strong links with industry. So this slide describes our 4 areas of research, and these are very broad and inclusive. And we would hope that all of our research students find a home in at least one of these areas, if not 2 or 3. And finally, just to give you a brief description of what a research program is, the core of all research programs is an original contribution to knowledge. So every single research student at TU Dublin is following their own specific research project. And then built into that program, we have training in transversal skills, such as communication skills, and also discipline-specific training, depending on the discipline of the student. So at all times, we are trying to enhance the employability of our graduates. So if you are interested in applying to TU Dublin, please send us an email. we also have further information on applications, expression of interest forms. But the first decision for all potential applicants is, what project would you like to do? You may want to define your own project if you have any ideas from your undergraduate programs. But if you're interested in looking at our website, we do have example projects in all the discipline areas, and my colleagues will give you some examples later in the morning. We also have some scholarship opportunities at TU Dublin, and you can find out about those again on our website. So I'm not going to say much more about TU Dublin, but I'm going to welcome my colleague from the International Office. I'd like to introduce Dr. Robert Flood. Robert, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Mary.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about life for an international student here at TU Dublin, or Dublin in general, and any advice you'd have for applicants who may be interested in studying with us.
Well, thanks for that, Mary. I suppose the starting point for PhD applicants or research, master's research applicants is that there's no set start date for that. So students can actually join the research programs at any point during the year, which in the current climate with COVID and visa offices being closed, people are getting quite anxious about that. So just at the start, I want to say to people, if you're thinking of coming to TU Dublin, don't worry about your visa. You will, whenever you arrive, you will start your research program. You don't have to be here by the 21st of September. On the positive side, the Irish Immigration Service has started to open its visa offices. The visa office in China, for example, opened yesterday, and the other ones based in the Middle East, in Africa and in Russia will be opening in the coming days as well. So that's a very positive development. Just to close out on COVID related matters, a big anxiety for people is what happens if I get COVID when I'm in Ireland, if there was a second outbreak. And the good news for people in that respect is that the Irish government has said, regardless of where you're from, if you get COVID, all your treatment will be covered, and if you need hospitalization, etc., will be covered by the Irish government. So that I think is a very, very positive step for people. In general terms, one of the benefits of studying in TU Dublin, and in Dublin in particular, or in general, is that it's a native English-speaking country. It's the last English-speaking country left in the European Union, and it tends to be a very friendly and welcoming and open place. People really do make lifelong friends here. It's not something I encourage people who are doing research projects to do, but you can work part-time up to 20 hours per week. And during the summer, in theory, you can work 40 hours per week. But trust me, if you're working for Mary or Marek or Deirdre or Tony, you won't get 40 hours to work during the summertime. Those guys will be keeping you very busy, which is right. It's the way it should be. You've the opportunity to join a lot of sports societies and sports clubs within the university. There's over 150 different clubs and societies available for people, and we really encourage people to join in that, because it gives you a great opportunity to meet people from outside of your research group and to widen your network of friends. When you finish your research project, we have a graduate stay back visa for 2 years, which allows students to gain additional experience working in industry or in their chosen field, or if they want to go on, for example, to do postdoctoral research either in TU Dublin or in another university. That opportunity is there, and it's facilitated by the 2-year stay back visa. So that's really all I want to say, unless there's anything in particular you want me to address, Mary.
Sorry, forgot I was mute there. No, that's fine. Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
So I'm going to move on to my colleague from the College of Engineering, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Mary Rebow, who is Head of Research for the College of Engineering and the Built Environment. Good morning, Marek.
Hello, good morning, Mary. Good morning.
Hi, Mary. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the College of Engineering and the Built Environment, which I know is a really big college, and also particularly what research areas are you interested in engineering?
Of course. Thank you, Mary. Good morning, everybody. So College of Engineering and Built Environment is a very vibrant research community with 250 research active staff and more than 120 research students who conduct high quality research in the targeted and user inspired research in a number of very important areas for United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, as well as strategically important for Ireland and Europe. Our research has a local, national, international dimension with collaborations across the globe. We collaborate with universities in the United States, and the other side with universities in Australia and New Zealand as well. We also pay attention, and it's very important for us, is knowledge exchange and technology transfer, with many activities with industry partners, but also with spin-out companies, patents, and invention disclosures. So we conduct research across a broad range of disciplines, and we are supported by national funding agencies like Science Foundation Ireland. We collaborate with our Irish partners or Centers for Research Training and Centers of Excellence. We have a lot of projects, applied research projects with Enterprise Ireland, also Environmental Protection Agency, Irish Research Council, as well with many projects funded by European Commission. So our college has identified a number of very important signature areas in the area of architecture, engineering, and construction, and with strong collaborations across national, international partners. So these areas are information and communication technologies, including antennas and high frequency, microwave devices for wireless applications and medical applications, photonics, including optical sensing and communications, digital and signal processing, audio and speech systems, as well bioimaging and computer vision systems, and broadly Internet of Things. Another very important area of our research is environmental sustainability, including energy efficiency, smart cities, solar and wind energy, electrical grids, sustainable transport and logistics. The third area will be strategic management in construction, procurement and sustainability practice in the construction industry, quantity surveying, construction economics. And also we have a very strong research in biomedical engineering, including assistive technologies and health informatics. And the last large area of our interest is engineering and built environment education.
Thank you. And now I'd like to welcome my colleague, Dr. Mary Deasy from our Tulla campus. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning. Thank you for.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about research on your campus.
Okay, thanks very much. I just a brief history of Tulla before I start, because it's probably not a name that's familiar to many people. Tulla is, I suppose, it's the largest suburb in Dublin, and it's located in South Dublin County, and it's been a place of where people have lived for many, many centuries, going way back to the Bronze Age times, from which it gets its name. And then in the late 8th century, St. Melroon actually built a monastic settlement here, which you can still see parts of from the main gates of the campus today. So since then, I suppose it has grown. In medieval times, it became a very important monastic site. And by the 1960s, it was a quiet little village in South Dublin near the Dublin Mountains and close to County Wicklow, the Garden of Ireland. And nowadays it has grown to be, as I said, the largest suburb in Dublin. It is also a place where most of Dublin's industry is located. In excess of 60% of the industry of the Greater Dublin area is located in the county. So the campus is very much located in a very thriving business and industry environment. And these companies are large multinationals that have been here since the 70s and 80s, and more recently, a lot more of the small to medium enterprise type companies have put their locations here as well. So we're quite lucky in that regard. So within TU Dublin, we're a relatively small campus. And I suppose most of our research students in Tulla are located on campus in STEM areas of science, technology and engineering and maths. We do have a good cohort of international students, up on 20%. And one of the things in recent years that has been pretty successful for us is the whole area around employment-based masters as well, where people can conduct their research masters or their PhD while they're working in industry. We do have a number of schools and departments. We have 3 academic schools: the School of Business and Humanities, the School of Science and Computing, and the School of Engineering. So all of the research falls into those areas basically. And I've given a sample there of some of the areas that we're involved in, from business finance to data analytics, to sensors, new nanomaterials. We also have a research institute, the Centre of Applied Science for Health, and a lot of the activity there is around biomaterial design, novel therapeutics, and any health-related projects, and design of novel sensors and nanomaterials for any application. And we have lots of different research groups within that centre as well. And then we also have a number of national research centres on campus. We have a National Pharmaceutical Education Centre, and we have a National Centre for Franco-Irish Studies, just to name 2 of those across the campus. Again, just like Marek had indicated in his short presentation, we do have lots of collaborations as well with business and industry locally, nationally and internationally as well. And one thing I didn't put in the slide there was that we do have a lot of links with local hospitals in the Dublin area as well, with Crumlin Children's Hospital, particularly around spinal cord research. And also we have a lot of links with Tulla Hospital here. We have a large hospital in the county as well, and with St. James's Hospital in the city centre. And then other non-government organisations in Ireland and charity organisations as well. We love to work with other people. Ireland is a small country, so we really encourage collaborations internationally. And the vast majority of our publications are usually published with joint collaborators from various parts of the world, from the US to Australia. And our publications are well cited. If you do want more information on the research in Tulla campus, I've just given a general email address here that would actually allow you access to see the different centres and research groups that actually exist on campus. If you're interested in doing a PhD or a research master's on our campus within TU Dublin. We do collaborate as well quite a lot within the university and with the other campuses in Blanchardstown and in the city. And so we do have a very vibrant research community, and it is extremely well connected to the graduate research school as well. And so you're really, while you're located in a small campus, you really are part of a very large and very efficient organisation for your programme. Where our graduates tend to go following their research degrees from Tulla campus, some of them go on to work in the world of academia, some of them go off to work in large research institutes to do postdoctoral research. We've had graduates go to Harvard University from biology, and graduates from chemistry going to places like Monash University in Australia. a significant number of our PhD graduates do end up working in industry and business within Ireland, and some do work in those industries abroad as well. So that's kind of it on the PhD front. In addition, the Research Institute, the Centre of Applied Science for Health, that actually hosts a technology gateway as well, so that we work hand in hand from research right through to technology transfer to kind of commercialization of the research as well. And so there are strong links between the basic research arms of the campus and the commercial gateways that exist that specifically work with industries as well. So there's a lot to offer in TU Dublin and Tulla, and a lot to offer across TU Dublin in general. So
perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Thank you. So I'm going to move on to our College of Sciences and Health, and I'd like to introduce Dr. Tony Betts, who is Head of Research for that college. Tony, I wonder, can you tell us a little bit about your college, and especially the PhD areas where your students are active?
Okay, thank you very much, Mary, and you're all very welcome to this very short presentation. A lot of my thunder has been stolen by Marek and Mary, who've beaten me to it. We're actually the largest single college doing research in the university, quite sizable number. We have about 200 students. Marek got me worried because he seemed to have more staff working on research projects than me, but I think we might have more. Anyway, we do collaborate together too, which is good. Basically, largely what I'm going to describe is the work that we do in the city campus, which is basically done in two research institutes and 6 schools. And every student is allied with a school, and a lot of the schools do their research based in 2 institutes, the ESHE Institute, Environmental Sustainability and Health Institute, which is in our Grange Gorman campus, which is undergoing rapid development at the moment. But this building has been functioning for at least 2 or 3 years now, is up and running. The Focus Institute is over 10 years old. That's based in the city itself, next to the Kevin Street campus. And that was our big initial research institute. And of course, Mary has the Cash Institute out in Tulla, the Centre for Applied Sciences and Health. So there are really a lot of our work, not all of it, but a lot of it goes on in those 3 research institutes. Now, I didn't want to make a big slide full of information, so I kept it very simple. We have 6 schools, but I have to say, I'm going to list a number of projects that we work on, and they're very, very multidisciplinary. Just because you're doing a project in the School of Physics doesn't mean that you're only doing physics. You'll be doing work in biological sciences or health sciences. So I'm just going to go through and give you a flavor of the kind of projects that I've been familiar with and have been dealing with in the last few years in our College of Sciences and Health. First of all is the College of Biological and Health Sciences. And for example, there was a degree that was just awarded the other day on nutrition and school children, and actually young children between 5 and 7 years old, and who are fussy eating. So that was a very interesting project that this nutritionist did for her PhD. There's another very interesting project that's going on at the moment on vitamin D levels and its COVID-19 application. And there are studies all over the world, but we've actually reported it very early on in an Irish journal about the benefits of vitamin D and preventing COVID-19 infection. There's quite a lot of work done, for example, on new bioactive inorganic compounds, including silver and manganese compounds, and all sorts of biological type projects with a therapeutic or a diagnostic application. So that's a very brief overview of some of the biological and health sciences work. Chemical and pharmaceutical sciences, this is a school I'm involved with myself, as well as Professor McNamara, who does work on cyclodextrins. We do a lot of work, for example, as Mary Deasy, Dr. Deasy suggested, like cash in the area of sensors and biomaterials, the analysis of pharmaceutical compounds and pharmaceutical waste compounds. Ireland has, I think, 9 out of the 10 largest companies, pharmaceutical companies, have bases in Ireland. So we have a very big pharmaceutical industry, which is a big employer of our graduates, I might add. Other topics include antibacterial coatings and also pharmaceutical regulations and standards, and the dealing with those, the regulatory side of the science. My own area, for example, is in electrochemistry and materials and electroanalytical science. So there's a whole range of organic, the traditional and the new nanotechnology type sciences in the School of Chemical and Pharmaceutical Sciences. Computer science, again, the other day I was involved with a project on epidemiological modeling of disease and disease spread in this country, and very, very applicable at the moment to the COVID-19 situation and modeling. And this project was to do with outbreaks of measles throughout the country in small towns in Ireland. And it was studying and trying to model the rate of spread of these diseases, really important for what the world has been experiencing lately with the COVID-19. Other projects would include such things as language projects, for example, translation from idioms and expressions from Portuguese to English and vice versa, annotation of traditional Irish music. So this was an interesting one. Although it was done in computer science, it had very much a cultural and artistic area behind it to support it. And that was an interesting project that just finished quite recently. Food science and environmental health is probably one of our biggest research active schools, and they do all sorts of work ranging from food allergies, extractions of enzymes and other valuable compounds for possible use in pharmaceuticals, and nutraceuticals, which is a new area, which are not pharmaceuticals but beneficial food products. And there's research being done on that. Enzymology, occupational safety and health. A couple of years ago, I remember a project to do with noise levels and trying to assess the exposure of people working in noisy environments to very high noise levels, and trying to deal with it and limit their exposure time. Even stress in the workplace is a project that's going on at the moment in the occupational health and safety area. So that's a very big school which does a lot of work in the biological area too. Mathematics is one of our smaller schools, but they do really interesting work. There's one project which is just coming to conclusion at the moment on cosmology and Hawking radiation and all sorts of very interesting and highly mathematical stuff. Some really interesting work on waves and subsurface waves. And you've all heard of these waves that can suddenly appear, these rogue waves, these massive waves that have sunk ships. That kind of research is being done, basically fluid dynamics kind of work. And another project, which is very applied and was done in conjunction with an outside, in collaboration with an outside university, was modeling of antibody-antigen interactions. And that was mathematical modeling. That was a very successful project. I remember another successful project was modeling of polymerization reactions for making sensors. So there's all sorts of applications for mathematical sciences, especially in the modeling area, like computer science as well. And the final school is, again, one of the largest, actually, probably on a par with food science and computer science in terms of student numbers, and that's physics, clinical, and optometric sciences. So it's not just the basic physics discipline and looking at such things as electronic processing, etc., but dealing with such things as nanotechnology, nanoparticles, and interactions in biological cells, and in health and in disease. For example, in cancer treatments, in applications in heart disease, and these are often in conjunction with hospitals and clinical studies. A lot of physicists become medical physicists and end up working in hospitals dealing with, for example, radiation treatment and other treatments for cancers and other diseases. An area where we're very interested. Okay, I'm just about run out. Biospectroscopy was the final topic. Okay, bye for now.
Okay, thanks, Tony. And last but not least, I'd like to welcome Dr. Deirdre McQuillan, who is Head of Research for our College of Business. Good morning, Deirdre.
Good morning, Mary. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the College of Business. We have 5 schools in the College of Business. So there's the School of Accounting and Finance, the School of Marketing, the School of Management, the School of Retail and Services Management, and we have our Graduate Business School. And so in terms of the postgraduate projects and the opportunities for PhD and MPhils, they stretch across all of those schools, and we have a really wide range of different themes and topics that are covered. So we have about 145, 150 academics in the college, and I'd say about 30 of those maybe are in active supervision in terms of PhD students and MPhil students. And something that's maybe a little bit different, I guess, in terms of by comparison to other faculties is that we have a number of part-time students as well. So there are part-time PhD opportunities in business. Maybe about 25% of our students at the moment are on part-time programs. So I think we have about 60 at the moment. So what you can see here, what I'm presenting here is just really an overview, a quick overview of the research centres and groups that we have. So there, as I said, like in terms of the range of projects that we have, and Mary mentioned already that many students come in and they actually select their own projects and their own interests. So we're very flexible around that. Also in terms of our supervision across schools, there's a lot of fluidity around that as well. But in terms of the centres where there is kind of strengths and clusters and interests, we have our Business Society and Sustainability Research Centre, which is quite broad, quite a broad centre, but it does aim sort of bringing in the dimensions, I suppose, of the UN development goals of societal impact on business and what we call the 3 Ps, the people, planet, profit around business. We also have a very strong cohort of academics and students working in the area of digital marketing, but also in marketing more generally around consumer behaviour. We have our 3S group, which has been a really successful group, has done a lot of research in hospitals and other centres, and they deal with complex business processes. So they're really interested in things like logistics and supply chain and systems thinking. Our Institute for Minority Entrepreneurship is very successful as well, and particularly in terms of PhD students that are looking at ethnic minorities and disability support, criminal justice enterprise, so all of those areas, and that's led by Professor Tom Cooney. And then we have a strong cohort of researchers that are in the economics and finance research group. So what you can see here really is the range of studies. So you can see there, as I said, that there's the strong research from our in economics in the area of energy, mental health, the macroeconomics are some of the examples, and in finance around macrofinance, financial modelling, banking, governance. We have all of those themes going on in projects. And we have projects linked a lot to our 3S group, and not only in supply chain and systems thinking. Entrepreneurship and innovation is also a big area as well. So that includes minority entrepreneurship, ethnic entrepreneurship, but also innovation and business startup more generally. International business in terms of trade flows, so from the economic perspective, but also in terms of multinational companies and subsidiaries is something that we have expertise and students in. And then human resource management, and again lots of themes under that, like gender and wellness, workplace wellness, and then, as I mentioned already, we have our digital marketing research group, but also in marketing there are a lot of studies around consumer behaviour. So as I said, we're open really to projects and people's own ideas, and trying to fit them in and find suitable supervisors for them. And we have groups of expertise and particular interests ourselves as well. My own areas around international entrepreneurship and creative industry strategy contexts. And I just have a name there as well. If anybody wants to contact the College of Business directly, it's just myself, Deirdre McQuillan at tudublin.ie, to look for more information or to suggest your interests, and I can maybe point you in the right direction. So that's really what we have going on. So
perfect, Deirdre.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'd like to just add to what my colleagues have said. We also welcome applications from researchers in the area of hospitality and tourism. We also have a School of Languages, Law and Social Scientists and Creative Arts. And as I mentioned at the beginning, TU Dublin is also host to the Conservatoire of Music, and they offer 2 doctorates. You can pursue a PhD, the traditional PhD, or you can, if you're interested, for those who have a really strong performance background that may be interested in pursuing a Doctor of Music. So I'd like to finish there. I'd like to thank my colleagues for joining me this morning and hope you all stay safe and stay well. I'd like to thank all our listeners this morning, and please feel free to contact us. You can contact us directly at phd@tudublin.ie. So thank you everyone for joining me this morning.
Okay, thanks very much, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Bye.